So making a video, I got a 95 F-150, 4.9 liter straight six, otherwise known as a 300 straight six. I've seen a lot of videos with people describing problems and never diagnosing them or posting them on YouTube. So what I'm going to do today is injectors and vacuum leaks and get that posted for you guys. So I made the decision. I think I'm going to take this off because I do have a gasket for it anyhow. Typically you'd want to try not to remove the gasket, but when I bought this truck it needs some work. It's a 95 F-150, but I'm just going to replace that as well, and it'll give me a hell of a lot easier access as far as maneuvering goes. So we'll get back to it. So electrical, let's pop this guy off. There's a clamp on either side. I'm right-handed, but my finger's broken. So then you're gonna need to take this one off as well. That's just one clamp. And then you can remove that. I believe that's going to be like an 8 millimeter socket. Thing too is, so now that I got the throttle cable mount off, if they do jimmy rig shit like that, stuff like this, put it back on where it was taken off at, just so you know, because there's going to be a lot of bolts you're taking off here and nuts. So I mean, that's just one way I do it, just a recommendation, suggestion rather. So heads up with stuff like that again. So on the Ford 300, or otherwise known as the 4.9 liter, there's a ground cable right here, and this is a ground that goes in between 4 and 5 on the back right here. You can see that right down there. There's that little bump on the bottom side of it. There's a nut you have to take off. Some of them are they're all threaded. Some of them are coming off with the whole thing, which is okay. Just gotta put it back. To continue on with the video, I'm a lot more ahead. I have my valve cover off, got the intake manifold off. There's these two fuel lines that connect to your back tank and your front tank, gas tank that is. Those need to be disconnected. They don't have to be, I guess, but there's all. Alright, so the injectors, all the new ones. Here's a bunch of the old ones. Injector 6, so I have a OBD reader. It's a first gen. It doesn't tell you much, but when you do use it, this is the OBD reader. When I first used it, it said cylinder 6 was dead, and I looked into it a little more. That's when I changed all the wires and spark plugs. When I did that and reran the OBD, it said it was clear, and then that one just, and then after that just said EGR bullshit. So when I took off injector 6, or getting to it, it was completely loose out of the socket. So I'm wondering if it just wasn't mounted right or installed correctly, and it would come loose as I was driving. But I fixed it. I'm gonna make sure it's not loose when I reinstall and see if that does fix my problem. I did also find this little guy. There was basically one of these little L's, if I'll show you. Connected right to here for my vacuum line. It was broken off. A lot of the reason, back to why I'm doing this, aside from there not being any videos. Oh, here it is. Yeah, see, that's That's broken old. Let me see if I can get to. That's all broken. Old vacuum line. Vacuum line is very fragile. Be very careful when doing anything vacuum line. Because if they're very brittle after they've been used for quite a while, so you'll run into a lot of problems as far as those cracking. If they crack, you get a vacuum leak. A vacuum leak will cause your truck, mine anyways, to buck a lot more than it typically should. So what you want to do is make sure when you reconnect, everything's solid. So everybody's a little different as far as gaskets go. I'm more partial on the rubber ones. Rubber molds better than the cork. Cork is okay if you torque it down right, but if you're like me and you don't know what the fuck to torque it down to, you get rubber. And the other part about the rubber is you see that groove right there? Well, that just plugs in, so it shouldn't move out of place while I'm installing my refurbished valve cover. It was pretty dirty on the top. You can still see some of it. That was all black. Cleaned it up somewhat, enough to make it look like I did something to it. And then we install. Everything's back together now, as of now. I have these two nuts. I need to double check to see where they're at go, but they're not important enough to the point where I can't see if I'm good or not as far as the injectors being done. So what you want to do before you go ahead and turn your truck over, you want to turn your auxiliary on, get your fuel pump going. Don't turn your truck on, just get your key to the right before you turn it over, and then go check the system, make sure it does not leak gas. If you leak gas, you need to take it apart and do it over again. Make sure, or retighten everything. So with this, good luck. So it should be kicked on. And if we go over here, I have to go fucking around. There should not be any gas spewing anywhere. I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't smell it, so that's a good sign. So I think these are backwards too. I'm not 100% sure, but oh well. I'm gonna fire her up, see what happens. So now you fired up. Go back through and check, make sure it's not spewing again. Sounds a little better. Can't really tell though at the idle. The idle is where it was best at. Could be as simple as having a hose plugged into the wrong area. I'm gonna figure this out.